Good morning, Master and Dr. Peter B., Bishop of Sultanpet, and Monsignor Madeleine for inviting me to be part of your permanent formation. I am very happy. I go about addressing many dioceses on canon law. So many people love mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, not canon law. But true canonists are always pastoral. The first thing I wanted to tell you is one of our obligations to update ourselves. We priests are not on par with the secular world with regard to updating ourselves. Imagine a doctor who stopped studying 20 years ago. Nobody will go to him today. But then, not a few priests have stopped learning with the seminary. It is sad. In canon law, there is something about the permanent formation. Canon 279, for example, says, priests or to clerics are to continue their studies even after their ordination. What is helpful to their ministry, pastoral ministry, they have to learn. And then even other studies that will be related to the pastoral ministry and that will be used. For example, I saw a priest 50 years of age who shamelessly says he doesn't know how to send an email. On the other hand, my former Archbishop Michael Augustine, he can't be without the internet even for a single day. Soon after breakfast, he will be the first one to answer all the mails. After all, how long will it take to learn to send an email? Half an hour, 1 hour, that's all. Permanent formation. The great Cardinal Martini, commenting on the incident of Moses seeing the burning bush, says, Moses, when he was called, was 80 years of age. At the age of 80, he did not lose the sense of wonder. Did not lose the sense of wonder. His burning is not consumed. The day we start losing the sense of wonder, then we become old. Some died at the age of 25, stopped learning, and are buried at the age of 80. I tell the seminarians repeatedly, learn something new every day, do some good every day. That is the secret of being charming. Learn something new every day, do something good every day. With regard to the religious, Canon 659 to 661, about permanent formation. 659 to 661. And 661 ends like this. Religious are to continue their formation till the end of their lives. And the superiors have to ensure that they have the time and means for this formation. So that's the importance of permanent formation, very important. In that context, I appreciate the efforts of the bishop in arranging this particular session. I can talk about a number of things. One of the first things is, of course, whenever I go for recollection to the priest, two focus. One is priestly life, priestly ministry. Priestly life, priestly ministry. One thing is, we have our whole life should correspond or conform to the life of Christ. The effectiveness of our ministry, the credibility of our ministry comes from our closeness, from our resemblance to the life of Christ. In that context only we see all the three evangelical counsels. For example, life of chastity. In the Rice context we speak of celibacy, but chastity, both are one and the same. Canon 599 for religious, evangelical counsel of chastity, and then 277 for the diocese priest. Same purpose is there. Some of the purposes for the sake of the kingdom of God, And then as a sign of the world to come, to serve the Lord with an undivided heart, to be more available, to be more holy. How is it lived? In celibacy, but also with perfect and perpetual continence. Same thing. Why? You want to resemble Jesus in his commitment and focus on doing the will of the Father. That's it. Same thing with regard to our simplicity also. Dioceses don't make a vow, but then they are called to live simple because they have to also resemble Christ. With regard to the religious, it is said, for example, in the law of the church inspired by perfect Ecaritas, they must be poor in fact and spirit. Many are happy with Matthew's gospel, poor in spirit, not with Luke's gospel. In fact also, blessed are you poor. A life of hard work, a life of sobriety, sober, a life that is industrious, stranger to earthly riches. Again, resemblance to Jesus Christ. Again, obedience also. Sometimes during the transfer, so many burnt feelings are there, heart burns are there. I always recall Genesis 13th chapter, where Abraham tells Lot, are we not brothers? Why should there be strife between you and my herdsmen? If you go to the right, I go to the left. If you go to the left, I go to the right. Choose what you want, I will choose what you do not want. That is the meaning of what Abraham said. If many priests are able to say, Bishop, send me to a parish or institution where nobody wants to go, then they imitate Abraham. Otherwise, we are only cheating the world. Send me to a parish or institution where nobody wants to go. This is obedience. Obedience is for people who have faith and love. Obedience is always for people who have faith and love. Sometimes we find it hard in convincing people. When we make the religious, make the profession of the evangelical counsel through the public vow of obedience, they always obey to accept any assignment that is given to them in the congregation. When you are incoordinated in the diocese by your ordination, formerly in Coimbatore, now in Sultanpet, you commit yourself to work in any part of the diocese. Though he was in the form of God, that is the Philippians 2nd chapter text that is often cited, in order to explain obedience, obeying even up to death on the cross. These evangelical concepts are basic. These make your priestly ministry effective. Life. Sometimes some people say, as long as I celebrate Mass, don't bother about me. As Bishop said right at the beginning, you are a public person, you are never a private person. You are 24 hours a priest. And each one of your word and deed will affect not only you, the community, but the whole church, the whole diocese. You can't say, I am a private person at this particular time. You cannot say that. So having said that, in the course of our talk we will see, I just want at least to finish some part of it. One of the things is, we have to work together with others. We have to work together with others. Recently we had Jesus sending the disciples 2 by 2. We can't achieve anything by ourselves alone. You have to work with others. Work with the Pope, with the College of Bishops, work with the Bishop, work with the other priests, work with the lay people, work with the religious. We have to collaborate, cooperate. Today, leadership is to be exercised in collaboration, cooperation. You can never do anything alone and achieve. Even the very definition of parish priest in Canon 519 says, sometimes we think we are the active subject and people are the recipients. Nobody has the monopoly of the gifts. The whole parish community is to be the active subject. We are taught systematic theology very clearly. The common priesthood should be served by the ministerial priesthood. It is not enough the priest is exercising his ministry as the prophet, as the priest and as the king, but it is the whole Christian community which has to teach, which has to sanctify, which has to shepherd. So, whole Christian community is the active subject. So, we have to work together. In this context, we have participatory structures at different levels of the church. My focus is especially to see to it that you work well with your lay people, giving them the correct understanding of the meaning of working together in the church. Usually, I don't use much of PowerPoint. I always believe my words have more power. And when the power goes away, points go away. But then in order to cover a number of topics, we'll go through them fast now. Church is a communion. It is one of the beautiful understanding of the church. Our elders, models of the church, he gives so many things. But then one of them is church is a communion. You can't be an effective disciple if you are not in communion with others, with the bishop, with the brother priest, with the people. Sometimes some priests, rare priests, alienate the bishop or alienate the convent there, and then they say they are doing a wonderful work in communion. Communion is not an office or factory. There is union of hearts, love and forgiveness. Let the sunset not find you still angry. And then this communion is built up by the word of God and the sacraments. Baptism is the door to the foundation, and then Eucharist is the source and summit. Yes, for the next. We'll go fast. One priesthood of Christ. I said even the common priesthood of the faithful and the ministerial or hierarchical priesthood are interrelated. One priesthood of Christ. Yes. Okay, go to the next. I don't go into communion with the bishops. Go to the next. Communion with other priests. This is one of the important things. In front of the people, my dear fathers, we should not give an impression of divided priests based on a particular community or language. 275 paragraph 1 of the canon law speaks about we are all working for the same purpose. That is, building up of the people of God. There should not be a divided Presbyterian in any diocese. United together in brotherhood and cooperation. Sometimes I see in some dioceses, here I think more parishes are interested with the religious. I know some dioceses only 3 parishes, 4 parishes. The religious don't invite the diocesan at all. Not only the priests are completely segregated, the whole people, the other priests of the diocese have nothing to do with that. Okay, you invite other religious, all right. But you have to invite also the diocesan. They should not be cut off. We are all for the one priesthood of Christ. Like that also the diocesans simply ignore the religious. Ignore the religious. One priesthood. And then many groups, small groups on the basis of ideology or even caste. One thing we should be ashamed of is that we are all for the building of Christ. Fundamental equality of dignity of all priests is very important, and priests cooperating among themselves is important. Individually, by having contact structurally in many participatory structures, unity of the Presbyterian. I think it was very tough, I think, Jesus. That's why John 17 chapter, priestly prayer of Jesus especially focuses on the unity of the disciples. Unity of the disciples. Never alienate any of your other priests. That's one thing. Okay. With the religious also, they also have to cooperate. Organized cooperation. Canon law says also between religious and secular. Organized cooperation. Speaking about religious, especially the convents, for example, what is the kind of relationship you have? Sometimes priests say, whatever begins with C gives me headache. The choir, the cook, the catechist, and the convent especially. C, all begin with C. If you ask the sisters, they say, Parish priest means problematic person, PP. APP, another problematic person sometimes. This is the type of relationship sometimes we have. See, collaborators in the ministry. Paul cites a number of lay people as his collaborators. Women with dignity. Nowadays, I have seen a few priests abusing sisters from the pulpit. Who gave you the right? Now I should educate the sisters to go to the court. Even according to the civil law, harassment of women in workplace. If any of the sisters file case against you, you will be behind bars. You will be behind bars. You are scolding them because she is there working, cleaning. Thank God so far they did not go. Civil law is very strict, but I have seen with my own eyes priests making use of it. Keep prudent distance. Encourage them. Appreciate them. For example, being angry with the convent, and then I say, I won't come for mass. Who gave you such power to make use of your priest to deny people and take vengeance on me? I don't want any priest of this diocese to say, I will not come for mass. I will not come for, because of your own idiosyncrasies. This is very, very important. I tell the religious also on their part, communication. Necessary communication, it is there. So many sisters sometimes complain. The priest says, we will not. Here we invited a religious, so parish is angry, he doesn't come for mass. What was the training we got in the seminary? What was the training we got in the seminary? You should not use your position as a priest to take vengeance on others, especially by making use of spiritual means. And then with the religious, close rapport, okay. With the laity also, we have to work together, okay. Go to the next, previous, yeah. There is genuine equality of dignity and action among all of Christ's faithful. Diversity of ministry, but oneness of mission. So lay people also should be made use of, because they also have something to contribute. Okay. Every part of the mystical body contributes. This is one of my favorite themes. There is no useless priest, useless religious. Everybody can contribute. Some play, others clap from outside. Recognize the contribution of each and everyone. Everybody contributes. No part of the structure of a living body can merely be passive. The member who fails to make his proper contribution to the development of the church must be said to be useful neither to the church nor to himself. Okay, there are so many participatory structures. I don't want to dwell at the universal level. You have, for example, ecumenical council. Last one was Vatican II. That is very rare. At that time, it was more than 2,000 bishops, now more than 5,300 bishops in the whole world. How to gather all of them in the Third Vatican? Nobody will be able to understand at all. I don't see the possibility of that. Another Third Vatican Council. 5,000 people sitting together, how each one can listen, all that and all, it will be equal. Then you have the other thing, the synod of bishops, representatives of the bishops gathering together. That's mainly two structures at the universal level you have studied. At the diocesan level, we have number of structures. Some are obligatory at the diocesan level, especially the Council of Priests, what is known as the Senate. 495 to 501 speak about it, and 502 about College of Consultants, obligatory. And then Diocesan Finance Council, obligatory. Diocesan Finance Council, 492 to 494. These three bodies are obligatory. Every diocese must have. They should function in accordance with the canon law and also in accordance with the proper law. So this Diocesan Finance Council, College of Consultants, Diocesan Finance Council. These three bodies. I'm sure you know it, you studied everything in the seminary. Now, instead of my talking and proceeding with that, the other thing with regard to these three, You have any doubt regarding that, you ask me before I go to more important parish pastoral and parish finance thoughts. Now, any doubt, feel free to ask me. There are no stupid questions, only stupid answers there can be. Okay, first to start with, maybe the consultants are here. We say about the College of Consultants, there is only one canon, but its functions are spread throughout the code. Consultants, any doubt regarding their, or others also can ask. Or before that, maybe before coming to consult, first to the Senate, because the consultants are chosen from the Senate. 495 to 501. Canons speak about anything you want. Just because I don't want to go into detail of all that, I am asking about the Senate. No doubt, you can ask me, feel free, what the church says I can say. You have studied, so everything is thorough to you. Third line. You know about the Senate, you have studied. If I ask questions, then you will give an exactly wrong answer. Forgot. So that's why you have to keep yourself up to date. So, Senate. So, I don't want to say, okay, we go ahead with the Senate. People feel shy when there is a Synod or omit for the time being. Go a number of things. There is a very, very elaborate paper. Even there, you forward, we go to that. Okay. I first say about, maybe after going through fast, reminding you, then I will ask you the questions. So one thing is collegial body and procurator, consultation, control and planning. Next. Okay. It is obligatory. Diocesan Finance Council is obligatory for every diocese. If a diocese does not have a council, okay. And then composition, minimum number shall be 3. But qualification, they can be Christ faithful, means there can be priest, religious, and lay people. So anybody is Christ faithful, but they must be Catholics. Knowledgeable in financial affairs and civil law. One is technical competence, the other is moral competence, known for their honesty and sincerity. Okay, those related to the bishop should not be there because there may be nepotism, that is it. Okay, next. Term of office 5 years. Both procurator and finance council, term of office 5 years, but they can be renewed any number of times. That provision is there in the code. The finance committee is very important because even during the vacancy it is active. Okay, next. Some of the duties are given there in the council. Okay, next. To prepare every year budget and then help the financial administrator, planning, budgeting, everything, major decisions. Their consent is needed. Okay. Next. Okay, scrutinizing the, okay, next. Consultation in some areas, it is needed, important thing. Okay, consent is needed. Okay, that has to be updated. It is 1.5 crores now. When extraordinary or alienation is more than that. It was old one. Okay, next. Okay, finance officer, truly expert and also 5-year term. Administer the goods of the diocese under the authority of the bishop. I have seen some procurators, bishop signs, procurator says no money. No. They are under the authority of the bishop. Procurator should not take the upper hand than the bishop himself sometimes. Next. Okay. Okay, up to that. Any doubt regarding finance? Any doubt regarding the diocesan finance council? Regarding, nobody wants to, Monsignor, you have to ask questions, I think, then others will follow. So 2 types of people don't ask questions. those who don't know anything at all. I don't think some of you know something. Then other thing is, to those who know everything. Those who know everything, feel free. You will not irritate me.
See, the finance committee.
Yeah, the Assistant Finance Committee. Yes. Now. Yeah.
How many members would be the minimum?
Yeah, minimum is 3. Minimum is 3. Maximum is left to the discretion of the bishop. If it is too big, too many cooks will spoil the soup. So depending on the minimum is 3, other than the bishop. Another thing is, bishop is not the member of the finance committee. In the diocese itself, a bishop never votes. Within the diocese, bishop never votes. When there is a voting, only the members. He presides over the finance committee. Presides over the finance committee. In the religious congregations also, the superior does not normally vote. Only in exceptional cases, when it is a collegial act, like for example dismissal of a religious, the superior becomes one more councillor, that's all. In accordance with Canon 699. Only case in universal law where superior votes, major superior, provincial or general, whatever it may be. Other cases, only when it is specified. Sometimes I have seen some stupid religious superiors writing, the general council decided. Who is the general council decide? They don't know to write also. I, after consulting my council, she can write. I, with the consent of my council, or together with my council, collegially we have decided. They don't know these forms. And then they write anything and everything. The general team has decided. Nowhere in the constitution it is given general team. What is the general team? How is it defined first of all? The general team, they will say. Is the gardener general team? Your personal secretary general team? Everybody will be. Inaccuracy, lack of precision, confusing everybody. We don't know who has taken the decision. Some of the religious don't know the law only, don't know the constitution. I have to tell them, I am a diocesan priest, I have to tell them this is what your constitution says. Here also religious priests are there. Do you know your constitutions properly? That is the question. I ask like that when I go there, I ask what is the qualification of the local superior or major superior. Same congregation people, 3 people say 3 different things. That itself is parading their ignorance of their own constitution. 3 of them belonging to the same congregations, prescribing 3 different qualifications which is not mentioned there. Okay, that's why we have to know them. Okay, that's it. Mostly asked about the minimum number of members. And then whether it is consultative or towards the end I give the principles of conducting meeting or speaking in the meeting and so on. Towards the end I'll give. Okay. You want me to go to the next Presbyteral Council already? Anything on diocesan level finance council? You will be talking this and that behind. But then sometimes people will not ask here. That's why I am giving an opportunity now to have raised questions and seek clarifications. As a canonist, I will not tailor my opinion to suit the needs of any bishop or even the Pope. What I feel the church wants, says already, only I will say.
Who will plan the annual budget of the diocese?
Yeah.
That is the diocese consultation?
Yeah. See, with regard to the annual budget, the diocesan finance committee prepares. Finally, it has to be approved by the bishop. Bishop can always suggest modification. So, they cannot be a parallel government. On the one hand, consultors and finance committee and then bishop. See, they are helping the bishop to prepare the annual budget and the procurator has to execute it and then the finance committee will see to it whether he has executed everything according to the plan. And everything under the overall authority of the bishop, unity of governance. Unity of governance. That's it. Planning, okay, bishop will propose, they will propose, and then bishop will say these are the priorities, and final decision will of course be taken by the bishop. And then when bishop, see, in any kind of consultative body, it is a process of discernment to arrive at the right decision. It is not non-chaos consultation, just namesake consultation. You consult in order to arrive at the proper decision. That's all. Okay, I go to the Presbyteral Council. Bishop and the priest, and then you have your statutes also. Go to the next. I don't take a class leading because I want more of a dialogue between bishop and the priest to foster fraternity between different groups of clergy. It is diocesan, it is mandatory. No diocese can be there without a senate. Okay. Then composition 497 says nearly 50% must be elected, and then some priests are ex officio, some may be appointed by the bishop in order to make it representative. Okay, composition. Then who all have the right to vote and right to be elected, especially diocesan priests and religious priests who are given pastoral ministry by the bishop, and other priests may be given such a right by the statutes. Okay, next. Consultative in nature. So this is very, very clear. The Presbyteral Council is consultative in nature. Okay, go to the next. Bishop is to consult in these 7 cases. Hear their opinion. Suppose you want to have a synod, what do they say? Then starting a new parish or closing a parish or bifurcating a parish, bishop has to get the opinion. And then also making parish council obligatory for all the parishes. Bishop has to get their opinion. And then construction of a new church or handing over a church to secular use, imposing taxes. These are the cases where bishop has to hear their opinion. That means listen. Suppose there is a serious reason, he can go against the decision, their opinion also. These are the cases given there. Next. Obtain the opinion, so that's what I have put. After obtaining the opinion of the council, the bishop is free to make the decisions that he thinks are appropriate, evaluating and deciding the matter before God for except when universal or particular law requires the consent. Actually, nowhere in the code their consent is needed. In financial matters, consent of the finance council and college of consultants is needed. Here their consent is not needed. Okay, next. Representative. All the priests must be represented. Okay, if the total number of priests in the diocese is very small, I have put here, there is no reason, all can be also called to the Presbyteral Council, nothing wrong. Okay, next. Here you have all are in the center. Okay. Statutes, they should have their own proper law. Canon law only 7 laws. Here you can have additional laws. You have your statutes. Next, proposed statutes. Spirit of the council. Bishop, no narrow individualism and climate of communion, attentiveness and common search for best solutions. Okay. Next, dissolution and cessation. If the Senate does not fulfill the functions, bishop can dissolve it, but he has to start a new council within a year. When a diocese is vacant, automatically Presbyteral Council ceases. New bishop must start within a year. Yes. Okay, that's about the Senate. Since College of Consultants also goes along with that, we will say, because from the Senate, bishop chooses a restricted group, minimum is 6, maximum is 12. In one diocese, they have 15 consultants. I have to tell the bishop, you are violating the universal law. Then he begged the 2 consultants to resign. Even a bishop can be unaware of such norms. I am not surprised that some priests are unaware of such norms. You cannot go against it. Suppose there are 8 consultants, 3 of them die suddenly. Should the bishop replace the 3? At least 1 he has to replace, because minimum is 6. Minimum is 6. Minimum 6, maximum is This one. In some dioceses, especially in the Madurai region, they have automatic consultants by appointing them BF, but there is no requirement in the code to do that. In Pondicherry and all, if you appoint all the BFs as consultants, there won't be any other consultant, because more than 12 vicariates are there. More than 12 vicariates. But in the Madurai region, all the BF means they are so much bowing before them. I asked this consultant. Sometimes BF is verified full also. Dean. Okay, College of Consultants. Okay, go to the next. Obligatory. It is diocesan, only priests, you know it, that consultants are. Then bishop must appoint consultants individually. Okay, well, send letter. Go to the next. Senior most consultant will preside if there is no bishop. There is an administrator to be elected. Okay, there is an administrator will preside, certain degree of stability in diocesan governance. It is also 5 years. Suppose after 5 years bishop has not established a new college, then they will continue. One basic principle in canon law is loss of office at the expiry of term is not automatic. Till the higher authority informs you, you continue in office. Suppose you are appointed for 5 years, 6th year, still you continue to be parish priest, all the marriages you bless are valid. Same thing, loss of office with the expiry of term or reaching the age limit is never automatic. The higher authority must communicate to that person. Okay, next. Consent there needed. Okay, I'll leave that. Okay, this. Okay, next. Okay, what are their duties and duty? Other functions when he takes possession of the diocese. Next. Okay, next. Okay. So this is it. These three important organisms in the diocese we briefly saw. The Senate, the consultants, the diocesan finance council. Obligated. Anything you might have studied in the seminary, but still how they have to work together. Towards the end I will speak about some of the principles for their effective functioning. As of now, do you have anything to say regarding these three before we go to the other level? Anybody? Because you are tired after the Sunday Mass, that's why you are keeping quiet?
Father, the bishop is vacant.
Yeah.
What is the immediate process?
Immediate process. Okay. So Bishop is asking about what happens to the diocese when the diocese becomes vacant. First of all, canon law says enforce 163 ways in which a diocese can become vacant. 416. 3 ways in which a diocese can become 4 ways. One is by resignation, the other is by the death of the bishop, the other is by transfer, the fourth one is, of course, by removal against his wish. These are the ways. Now, when the bishop resigns, the diocese doesn't become vacant. Only when the acceptance of the resignation is communicated to the bishop and published by the Pope. Acceptance. Sometimes it says 75 years, 401 para 1 on completion of 75 years we are asked to submit the resignation. No strict juridical obligation. Same thing for parish priest also. 538 para 3. The word used is rogato. If he is ably functioning, the bishop cannot remove a parish priest. Like that, the Holy See will not remove the bishop if he doesn't resign at the age of 75 also, if he is ably functioning. So he is only asked more a moral obligation. Asked, that's all. Or they may say, they may give him a coadjutor or without his asking or give him an auxiliary, even without his asking sometimes, normal auxiliary will be given, and make my life, and make his life more difficult and hasten his death, that is another matter. But then there is no strict obligation. But then 401 para 1 says, on 75 years submit the resignation. Para 2, don't wait till 75. If you feel that you are unsuitable for the office, even before you resign. So in the case of resignation, when it is acceptance is communicated, what happens is, if there is auxiliary, he will convene the meeting and preside over the College of Consultants to elect the administrator within 8 days. Those 8 days, auxiliary will be in charge. If there is no auxiliary, consultants will be in charge till they elect. As collegial body, they will be in charge. Well, within 8 days, they have to elect the diocesan administrator. But the law also says the policy can provide otherwise. In some, nowadays it is becoming more and more frequent. The policy itself can appoint the diocesan administrator. Because he is appointed as diocesan administrator, he is called apostolic administrator. It may appoint a priest also as apostolic administrator. Normally they appoint a bishop as the apostolic administrator. You know, in the case of Palakkad and Trichy, 2 bishops are appointed. For Palakkad, Madurai Archbishop, and for Trichy, Tanjore Archbishop, have been appointed as apostolic administrators. Their powers are during the vacancy, but since they are apostolic administrators, a little more powers are given, that's all. So this is what is to be done in the case of the resignation of the bishop. In the case of transfer of the bishop to another diocese, the transferred bishop, till he goes to the new diocese, he has the powers of the diocesan administrator. For those 2 months time is given to take charge of the new diocese. 2 months he continues to be bishop, but with the powers of the diocesan administrator. The diocese becomes vacant only when he takes possession of the new diocese. From that day, 8 days, they have to elect the diocesan administrator. Death, you know, when death is notified within 8 days, they have to elect the diocesan administrator. If procurator is elected as diocesan administrator, there must be an interim procurator elected by the finance committee. Because the law doesn't want the procurator to be diocesan administrator and also procurator. That is given. One of the rare cases where by election somebody gets office automatically in a diocese. So that is the thing. These are the provisions during the vacancy of the see. Yeah.
There are the finance committee.
Yes. Diocesan finance committee. Yes.
Relative of the bishop can be member of that.
Relative of the bishop. We already, I told clearly here that those related to the bishop up to 4th degree consanguinity or affinity cannot be in the finance committee. Yeah, that's why nepotism, I said, by closeness, they may cause harm to the church, financial loss to the church. I already told that point. Told just now. And in addition, the finance officer or the procurator, before he is appointed, the bishop has to hear the opinion of consultants and finance committee. Suppose he wants to remove him before completion of 5 years. Before completion of 5 years, then again he has to consult them and then only remove. In one diocese, the bishop removed the procurator within 2 years. And then the priest concerned referred to the Holy See. The highest authority sent me the papers. I told what the bishop did is invalid, and then to save, have some dialogue and then listen to him and then do it properly, I told him. So in another diocese, all officers are 6 years, 7 years, as per 6 years parish priest, procurator is appointed 6 years. I told them this is canonically wrong. Procurator term, consultant term is fixed by universal law itself 5 years. You can appoint them any number of 5 years, no problem. 25 years, 30 years you can be procurator. But one term is always 5 years. One term is always 5 years. Any number of term you can appoint. So you cannot change what is prescribed in the universal law. Sometimes universal law says you can fix your own term. For example, PF. For example, Senate members. So there and all the laws in Pastoral Council. These and all you can fix your term. Some terms are fixed by the universal law. You have to follow it. You cannot violate it unless you get dispensation. Yes. Anything? So this pastoral council is more optional. I won't say it is purely optional, not strictly obligatory. When these circumstances suggested, this is majority will be the laity to identify the pastoral issues and then advise the bishop with regard to pastoral matters. Diocese and pastoral council selected all over. Many dioceses have it, many do not have it also. But then communion of it, just go through fast. These canons speak about it. Establishment and function, not strictly obligatory. It is a permanent organ once it is established. Okay. Then scope, study and weigh those matters which concern the pastoral works in the diocese and propose practical conclusions concerning them. It is to present to the bishop the suggestions. Okay, next. Pastoral activity, diocese, go to the next. Okay. It is only consultative. However, the bishop is not to go against its decisions, especially if it is unanimous, unless he has very grave reasons to do so. Yes. Composition, majority will be the lay people, of course, religious, priests, everybody, but full communion with the Catholic Church. That means Catholics, yes. They can be clerics, religious, lay people. Okay, their quality outstanding in firm faith, high moral standards and prudent. This is important because this is the same thing for parish council or parish finance council. They must be outstanding in strong faith. Some of the people who are leading immoral life because they are moneyed people, you should not have them in the parish council. You have to remember that. Okay, next. The designation of the members, the diocese can have its own way of choosing, yes, but only thing is it must be representative, yes. Statutes, it should have its statutes, duration is to be fixed by them, they have to meet at least once a year minimum by universal law, yes. Then we come to more important parish pastoral council. Anything, any clarification on diocese pastoral council? Do you have one in your diocese? Not yet. Diocese and pastoral council? Not yet. Okay. For the future. Yeah. Representatives from each vicariate can be gathered and then have a body. Because it is not obligatory by universal law, it would be a great organ in supporting. Sometimes some of these participatory bodies are problematic. Yeah. Anything else? Okay. Now we go to the parish pastoral council. Very important. So do you all have parish pastoral councils? Parish council you call it. Actually full name is parish pastoral council. At the parish level, two bodies are there. One is parish finance council, the other is parish pastoral council. After seeing this, at least I expect a little more of interaction. Okay. Purpose. Help the parish priest in fostering pastoral action. Again, we use the word pastoral again and again. What is exactly is the pastoral? Again we will say, see, Jesus said during his Last Supper, I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life. Jesus the truth we have to give, we need to be prophets. Jesus the life we have to give, we have to be priests. Jesus the way we have to show, we have to be leaders. Leading role, sanctifying role, teaching role, this is what is the vocation of everyone. Ultimately to give Jesus to the world. Ultimately to reflect the life and mission of Jesus. That's the pastoral action. Like the pastoral council at the diocese level, it pertains to the parish pastoral council under the authority of the parish priest to study and weigh those matters. Okay, next. Membership formed of not merely with suitable lay members of Christ faithful of the parish, but also others who participate in the care of the parish by virtue of their office. I don't know, here it is a parish catechist, for example, if he is permanent. He must be part of the parish pastoral council, one thing. Then, you may have, I think already have it, the one sister superior or some representative from the convent, the assistant priest. So, canon law clearly says, by virtue of office, these people must belong. Those who exercise a particular office for the parish, they should not be excluded. Surely the vast majority will be the parish people. So it should have its own statutes and then composition and functions. It is preceded by the parish priest, consultative vote. So you have to educate the people. We decide nothing. So the consultative nature of the council must be explained to the people. Again, people contribute to governance not only by deliberative vote or decisive vote, but also by giving their opinion. Only an arrogant, godless fellow will on a regular basis undermine the opinion of the spirit-filled majority. I don't think after so many years of formation, the parishioner says something sensible, the priest will invariably negate it. Same thing to the bishop also. When most of the priests are unanimously the priests say a particular thing, the bishop should think 100 times to go against the view of the unanimous majority, unless they are motivated by prejudice or other compulsions which are contrary to the gospel. So that is a consultative, also you contribute. Sometimes people will say, just as the priest say, whatever I say, bishop is not listening. People will say, whatever I say, parish priest is not listening. It's always happening everywhere. But then what is important is that whether they listen or not, you give your opinion boldly. And sometimes give in writing, then you will not be blamed. We recall what Prophet Ezekiel was told. They will not listen to you, don't worry. You go on barking, go on shouting, telling the people. Afterwards you will say, I told you, Bishop, I gave it in writing, Bishop. Same thing also, parishioners. Because it is consultative, let us not undermine the importance of the consultation, hearing the consultation of the people, but make it known the final decision is there. Okay, is deliberative vote is the only answer? Democratically, so many presidents are elected, prime ministers are elected, they are useless people also. Democracy is not the only solution. Some people say enlightened dictatorship is the only solution. We want only a good dictator, not merely democracy at all levels. So one system is not superior to the other, but the world has accepted democracy. But in the name of democracy also, so many divine laws have been violated, especially in the European Parliament and so on. So homosexual marriages and so on. So this is in the name of democracy. The number doesn't make something solid. That's why even through consultation you always contribute. Okay, go to the next. If the parish pastoral council is rightly understood and put into practice, it can be an efficient instrument that promotes communion between the parish priest and the faithful, and the concrete realization of the participation of the parochial community in the life and mission of the church. We have to understand the principles and then put into effect the parish council. So sometimes the priests who are very vocal in the criticism of the bishop are the same priests who are guilty of neglecting the opinion of the lay people. Neglecting the opinion of the same people. When the mother-in-law is persecuting the daughter-in-law is looking for her turn to persecute her daughter-in-law. Like that it happens. Do not criticize. Be open to the suggestions. Okay. The constitution of the Parish Pastoral Council is not obligatory in the universal law. Canon 536 speaks about it. So, but bishop can make it obligatory for every diocese after consulting the Senate. After getting the opinion of the Senate, in our diocese, every parish should have Parish Pastoral Council. Okay. However, particular law may make it obligatory. I have quoted the canon. The opportuneness is to be decided by the bishop after consulting the Council of Priests or Senate. Okay, next. The Parish Pastoral Council is an organ of ecclesial communion, participation, co-responsibility. As I began this talk, it is easy to work for others, not so difficult to work under others, very difficult to work with others. Today, leadership is to be exercised in collaboration, cooperation. Work with the lay people, tap their resources. Don't say, I will consult this person, that person individually, I don't want counsel, there will be problem. It is the fundamental right of the people of God to participate. When you establish parish council, you are not giving them concession. It is their right and duty to participate in the mission of the church. So councils, not only because they are practical, they may not be practical, still they are a necessity because you have to give each person to participate, not only individually but also structurally. So, priests of the parish with a view to furthering the mission of Christ and His church in this corner of the Lord's Vineyard. It is collegiality in action at parish level. The council must concern itself with the whole range of pastoral activities in the parish. The parish priest is the president who acts as animator and facilitator. Yes. Members of the council at times mistakenly consider it merely as a grievance hearing forum, a talk shop, a board of directors, or legislative body for issuing decrees or statutes that the parish priest must either sign or veto. This is our problem. In many dioceses, maybe also here. So we want to decide. We want to say like this. No. It's consultative. It's not a grievance. Make known your suggestions, your needs to the people of God. Final decision will be taken after due discernment. That's what you have to make them understand. Okay. On the other hand, some priests are allergic to the formation of such a council. As I said just now, priests who are loudest in their criticism of the lack of consultation and shared decision making at the universal and diocesan level, they find fault with the Pope, with the bishop, are often the very worst offenders. They are the worst offenders when it comes to their own. Okay, next slide. Okay, worst offenders when it comes to applying these same principles in their own parish. Before criticizing others, whether you concern, you have to see. Okay, the purpose and nature of the council should be rightly understood by the president, that is the parish priest, and also the members. Some problem. Okay, the preeminent role and responsibility of the parish priest. Okay, next. Its role is to help the parish priest identify pastoral needs in the parish, help him plan pastoral programs. The parish priest should have sincerity of purpose, respect for each person and openness. Okay, next. The code gives only general indication of the composition. Without doubt, parish priest has a significant role. It is but natural that all others who virtue of their office, okay, assistant priest, this I already said. Okay, next. One should take into consideration local situation and circumstances peculiar to each diocese and parish. Care should be taken to constitute the council to be really representative of the parish community. Diocesan law can determine other qualification, mode of election if it is necessary, and tenure and functioning. Members should be in full communion. Okay, distinguished for their faith. The parish priest presides at the pastoral council. As in the Eucharist, presiding role has to be seen within the context of the process of decision making. Okay, go to the next. Okay, go to the next. Okay. Then we come to the finance council. Now, you will have any difficulty you are facing In present, diocese, parish pastoral council. Parish pastoral council.
No,
Do you have?
no, that's most of the parish will be formed to the parish pastoral council.
Why the other parishes do not have?
So I think only 3 or 4 maybe.
Yeah, what exactly comes in the way?
For example, my parish, I have got only 15 families.
Yeah,
Of one business unit.
yeah.
Substation also
So-
20 families. So where I found
Okay, I understand. Because of the number of members, of course, parish pastoral council is not obligatory. Okay. Any reflection from your experience on parish pastoral? Yes, Father. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Suppose the parish council members, they
Yeah.
are honoring the priest by various ways. So what are the steps?
Yeah. So the parish pastoral council members are, all the time criticizing the priest and spoiling the name of the priest and this and that. See, first of all, we said the statutes must speak about qualification. It must be representative. And the members, sometimes if the diocesan statutes allow, in Bangalore also we don't have election because of language problem, things like that. They are also appointed. And then the members are sent to the bishop and then it is approved. Approved by the diocese, like that they have put the statutes also like that. Now, you have also suppose there are 15 parish council members. And then they must be known for their moral life, integrity, honesty, justice. Sometimes the fault may be with the parish priest, sometimes it may be unjust accusation. The parish priest has the right to defend himself in front of them, or with due action, they can be given a canonical warning. And one or two of them, if it is proved that they are really guilty, they can be deprived of the membership. The statutes must provide for removal of a particular member from the parish council. That is the thing. In the church, the greatest punishment is denying communion sacraments. Interdict, as it is called, with reference to lay people. Excommunication and interdict. Interdict is the first step, for example. Denial of sacraments. That and all, they will not come under this. Come under this. Even canon law doesn't give automatic excommunication even for beating priests now. Only automatic punishment only for beating bishop and pope. From old code said even beating priest. If they are beating priests, because of contempt for the church, only proper action has to be taken afterwards, but no automatic penalty. Now, in a particular case, we have to reconsider. First of all, you should have a dialogue, call the BF and let them design deal first. You yourself try to have a meeting. But if you need a mediator, I would suggest in this way, BF or even the Vicar General for the meeting, let them say the grievances, let them say. But still one or two are continuing, then you can take action after giving due canonical warning, even removing one of two. But if the priest is at fault, he has to mend his ways. That is the thing we have to do. We have to give opportunity for defense. That is one of the basic principles of procedural law. Right of defense. Simply people will say the parish council only said, he never said, he will say afterwards. So this is the way we have first dialogue. Final way is give you a canonical warning and remove him from the membership. Don't deny him sacrament. That is for still bigger penalty, offences. Yes.
From the parish council.
Yeah.
Or from the parish.
Parish itself you have no right. Parish council, that itself, you have to follow the procedure. You should have concrete proof for that. It's not so easy. Concrete proof, documentary proof, or witnesses say he only did this against you. Only from the office of being a parish councillor, not from the parish. Not at all. Because by baptism, by their residence, all Christ faithful, especially canon 213 says, right to word of God and sacraments. Later on I will speak about it. is enjoyed by all the Catholics. Right to Word of God and the sacraments. You cannot arbitrarily deny them the Word of God and the sacraments unless you have concrete proof that the person has violated seriously somebody. So don't be in a hurry to punish people. Follow the procedure of law. Give them the right of defense. If the person repents, then the person says sorry, letter of apology, then don't remove him. That's it. Yeah. Any other parish priest from your experience of the parish council, any problem? So, no, some of the people think, one thing is how to change this mindset, Father. In the Malabar Church, Palakkad Church, they have a decisive role. Actually, it is only a myth, I tell you. Decisive role. In the code itself, in the Malabar Church, Palakkad Church, they will speak about Podi Yogam and Pradinidhi Yogam, this all. I read a recent article by the Oriental canonist, Parish, and then another article. The incomparable canons of the Eastern Code, that is the title. Where Latin Code gives representation to the lay people, Oriental Code does not give any representation to the lay people. Oriental Code does not give enough representation to the lay people. Now, latest article, the title of the article is in the magazine, canonical magazine, famous canonical one, the incomparable canons of the Eastern Code. 7 cases where lay people cannot come. On the other hand, in Latin Church, lay people can be part of it. So it is only a myth. But then we should know, of course, there was some practice, especially with regard to the property and all in the past. But in the present code as such, I don't see anything extraordinarily innovative in the Oriental Code. We should know that. But then we have to educate the people. What I am saying is, see, one canon which I teach for hours together for the MCL Fathers is Canon 127. People participate by advice or by decision making. When advice is given, also they participate in the decision making, but only, as I said, the ungodly fellow, stupid fellow, arrogant fellow will on a consistent basis ignore the opinion of the majority. Will you ignore the opinion of the majority consistently? You will not. That's why people, even by your consultation, you have to seem to be feeling the pulse of the people. And if they are going against the gospel, then you tell them, this is not according to the gospel. People will understand. Make the people feel part of the parish community by your edifying life, transparency and accountability, by your availability. Because we are like visiting parish priests. Occasionally we are found in the parish. We don't know. Sometimes shamelessly we speak of sheep stealing. We don't know the sheep. And then they join the Protestant sect and then we say, somebody stole my sheep, which was supposed to be my sheep. How many times you visited the sheep? We don't do our duty and then all the time find fault with our people. The Holy Father says, call your parishioners not only by name, but also by their nickname. He says that in order to show your closeness, can you call all your parishioners by name? Then you are not a shepherd. Then you are not a good shepherd, that's all. On our part, we have to do our duty. On our part, we have to do our duty. Are you there available? Some are available materially, but not formally. You have to be available and approachable. Close your room and be there, boost, or sleeping all the time. That is not availability. Availability formally and materially. You have to be available and approachable. Such kind of parish, surely people will understand. I always tell the priest, the 1 Thessalonians 2nd chapter 10th verse, 3 adjectives St. Paul uses. Before you who believe, I was blameless, I was just, I was pure. You are witness, God is witness. Paul, recalling his ministry in Thessalonica, uses these words. When I read these words, I get frightened. If every priest can challenge the people saying like that, before you, I am blameless, I am just, and I am pure. 3 words he uses. Sometimes we are not able to change. We bounce on the people when they are attacking us. There will be good people to support you, defend you. Sometimes good people keep silent, that's another matter. On your part, we should minister like St. Paul. That's what I want to say. I'll go through the Parish Finance Council also fast before we go for lunch. One thing, though in this diocese, Parish Finance Council may be not considered obligatory. Universal law considers it obligatory. I went to address all the 8 dioceses of Calcutta province. 8 dioceses, all the vicar generals and episcopal vicars came for a meeting 2 years ago. There also I was surprised that they don't have finance council. And then one of the VPs said, Father, we are mission diocese, we are not obliged. Small parish, like our VP said, only 10 parish, why do we have? Whether one family or 10 family, finance council is obligatory. If you don't have finance committee in your parish, you are disobeying the Pope. I am clear. I don't worry about the bishops. Transparency with the, many people not only teach Trinity as a mystery, many parish priests are mystery with regard to their accounts. Mystery with regard to their account. It is obligatory, even if there is only one family. 3 members must constitute the parish finance council. And you have the obligation to give account to the people regarding what you got from them. What you got from the bishop, you need not show account to them. You are not obliged. What you got from your project, no. But what they contributed, every pie, you have to give account. What type of account, again, the law leaves it to the bishop to say. Every month or every week. Bangalore, every week the collection is read. And then some kind of how the money received from the people was spent. People have the right to know. Even if bishop says no need of parish finance council, if you have the Holy Father in your support. So parish finance transparency, 2 areas the church is again and again accused. One is with regard to the celibate life of the consecrated persons. The other is with regard to dealing with money. These are the 2 things the church is often accused. So now with regard to the money, be transparent with regard to the money that you got from the people. Okay, I just go through the parish may hold the court, the government, every, see, Canon 1280 prescribes that every, I think some problem with the other one, okay. The documents of Vatican II gave a tremendous impulse to the active participation of the lay people, including in the administration of church property. Canon 1280 prescribes that every juridical person is to have its own finance committee or at least 2 councillors. So again, 2 advisors, only when there is no finance committee. In the case of finance parish, 537 says you should have a committee, means having 3 persons. Okay, next. The general principle is also applied to that. In each parish, there is to be a finance committee, obligatory words. Not there, maybe there is to be a finance committee to help the parish priest in the administration of goods. Without prejudice to 532. That Canon 532 says, in all juridical matters, the parish priest acts in the person of the parish. So parish priest is the preeminent. Again, parish finance council also is consultative. If it is deliberative, diocese statutes must say, that's all. It's also consultative. It is ruled by universal law. Okay. Parish finance council is obligatory in all parishes, irrespective of the number of members and the quantity of temporal goods they possess. So monthly income is only 20 rupees for them, still you should have 20 rupees only from their council. It is meant only to assist the parish priest, help the parish priest. It does not specify any other constitutive element other than referring generically to universal law and episcopal norms. Okay, book other canon law, they must be expert in administration, honest, devoted to the church and the apostolic character. Okay. The parish finance council does not have the task of administering goods, but only collaborates with the parish priest in the administrative management of the parish. It is the competence of the parish priest to administer the goods of the parish and not that of the finance council itself. Competence of the parish priest to administer. It is interesting to note that in the earlier draft of this canon, establishment of this council was not obligatory, but only circumstances suggested it. When they formulated the 1983 code, beginning they said it is not obligatory, but then now they have made it obligatory. Okay. The code does not explicitly say that the parish finance council has consultative or deliberative vote. However, Dyson law can grant it deliberative vote in certain cases, or at least require the parish priest to get its consent to perform certain acts. So, your statutes can say in these cases, the parishman must get their consultation and then present to me. Like that you can put some things. Then, okay. 1287, this is what I said. Canon 1287 para 2 requires all administrators to render an account to the faithful on the goods offered to the church. What is the manner bishop has to determine? It is a bit, okay, you made this point, okay, concluding remarks, convoking the Dyson Synod, okay, regarding all the things, come to the next, okay, councils, some theological reflections. Are they useless since they are only consultative? Whether it is Dyson level or parish level, are they useless? They are put here. Often we hear the lament of some persons who say that the structures of participation, since they have only a consultative vote and not deliberative vote, are inefficient. The primary purpose of the councils in the church is not to fulfill a certain need for sociological representation or even a strategy for greater organizational efficiency. On the other hand, councils are essentially the practical direction and consequence of the new understanding of the church as a communion. So why councils? If church is a communion, there must be councils. Okay. Next. Who is victorious? This also I already dwelt on. The group with numerical majority should not consider itself victorious on the other group with less number. Both the majority and the minority must seek the truth and good of the church and arrive at ecclesial consensus. That's what majority, minority you should not say. All must work together and arrive at the consensus. Yes. Next. All should understand. Okay, come to the next. Next. They are all instruments of diaconia. They are all instruments of diaconia. See, not used from above, lived from below in the ecclesial spirit. They are treated as mini parliaments sometimes and not as instruments of service. They are structurally called to contribute to the formulation of the judgment of faith. They have to understand the spirit. Next. Adequate preparation. So, many times you have problems in your respective dioceses. You have problems because you have not prepared the people sufficiently. In a hurry to establish councils, prepare them, some kind of classes, some kind of retreat. You prepare them for the council. It is imperative that the members receive adequate preparation. Members receive adequate preparation. They should be aware of the basic theological and pastoral foundations and the relevant laws and statutes. Make use of qualified persons to tell them about the meaning of consultation. Okay, next. Supply the necessary information. All meetings will be useless. All meetings will be useless if you don't give information to the members. At the diocese level, at the parish level. I am giving some important theological principles. Please take note of it. No? Whenever you conduct a meeting, Whenever you conduct meeting, you have to have the necessary information and the accompanying special circumstance of time. Members must come prepared for the meeting. Members must come prepared for the meeting. Next. Necessary atmosphere. Sometimes in some councils, only some speak. Others listen. You should make each of the member to speak in the council. You should make each of the member to speak in the council. At least let them say, I have no points to say. If the superior is very angry, how will others speak? How will others speak? That is the thing. Listen willingly. Foster the cooperation. Next. Okay, next. Sincere sharing. Some people do not speak only. They speak with one another. But then in the meeting they don't speak. Why are you a counselor, consultant, finance committee member when you don't see, when you don't speak, when you don't hear? You have to speak. Speak out your opinion. As I said, others may not listen, but still you have to speak. Okay, next. Say it with reverence and humility. Sometimes some people will say, order, like this language, even against some bishops. Very bad. Because what you say is right, it doesn't mean you can use any language. You have to use the right language. Say it with reverence and humility. Lay people should do that. Priests also should do that. Say it with reverence. Okay, next. Okay, next. Let us promote councils and communion. That's the last sentence I said. Let us promote councils and communion. So we cannot, in spite of all the interest Vatican II created, and more so after the promulgation of the 1983 Code of Canon Law, there is today certain stagnation in the organization and functioning of the councils. We should not accept passively the malfunctioning of the councils or renounce them altogether. It's difficult, don't say it like that. Try to involve people, get the maximum out of that. Okay, we will finish with that. It would mean that we admit the practical failure of Vatican II with regard to some of its stimulating provisions for the renewal of the Church. What is needed is the formation of all the faithful in the understanding of ecclesial communion and cordial openness and trust of those in positions of responsibility in eliciting the collaboration of all in the decision making. That's it.